Chapter 1. The Storm Hunts. The wind was a living thing. It howled like a predator in pain, its voice ripping across the lowlands as if trying to tear the world apart. Dalton Rives staggered against the gale, one arm raised to shield his eyes from the stinging grit flung across the flooded plain. The hurricane had come out of nowhere. The news said it would pass by offshore. They were wrong. He'd barely escaped his crumbling RV before the floods swept it into the sea. His pack was soaked. His GPS was dead. Every step through the soaked pine marshes made him feel like a hunted man. Lightning split the sky, revealing a cluster of broken military fencing half swallowed by vines and erosion. Dalton stumbled toward it. The old warning signs, faded and cracked, read, "Government property, no entry, secure site number 19. He didn't care. The storm was too close. Wind screamed through the half-collapsed perimeter as Dalton pushed through the twisted gate and found himself standing before a low hill of concrete, a bunker, its steel door blown open long ago. He stepped inside just as the first hailstones began to fall like bullets from the sky. Inside, silence. And a smell, metallic, sterile, and old. He switched on his flashlight. Chapter 2. Echoes in the dark. The beam cut through layers of dust. The cracked monitors lined the walls. Data cables snaked across the ceiling like vines in a dead jungle. Dalton took careful steps down the concrete ramp, deeper into the earth. He passed rusting cots, torn biohazard signs, and empty racks of once classified equipment. The further in he went, the colder it became. Then he heard it. A sound like breathing but not human. He froze, heart hammering. Again. HSSSSHHH. HRRHHH. It echoed, faintly, through a side corridor. He considered running back into the storm, but the bunker was dry. And warm.
And it was shelter.
Shelter he needed. Dalton drew his pocket knife. It felt like a toy. He followed the sound. The room it led to was circular, with walls of smooth alloy and machinery built directly into the curved ceiling. In its center stood a containment pod, a thick glass cylinder, covered in frost, surrounded by biometric sensors and power relays. The pod was open, but the thing inside had only recently stepped out. Then a voice echoed from behind him.
Come.
Feminine. I dreamed of the ocean. The sound of waves. It was almost enough. Dalton whirled. She stood by the control panel. Not a woman. Not fully. Her skin shimmered faintly, like static on water. Her body was humanoid but wrong. Long limbs, glowing veins like tiny circuits, and eyes with no pupils, just pale light. What are you?" he stammered. She tilted her head. Hungry. Chapter 3. The Pact. Dalton took a step back. If you're going to kill me, just get it over with. The creature blinked slowly.
No.
You are not the kind. Not a soldier. Not their breed. She walked toward the pod, placing one translucent hand upon the frost-rimmed glass. They sealed me here. Said I was too dangerous. I waited, slept, and fasted. They said I could not leave until humanity failed. I have waited a long time. Dalton's voice came in a whisper. You mean you're one of their weapons? A soft laugh. I was their test. Their warning. Their apology. They made me, then feared what I'd become. Outside, the storm roared louder, the concrete above rumbling under its force. Dalton exhaled, cautiously stepping closer. What do you eat? She didn't answer immediately. Her fingers danced across the console, illuminating long-dead displays. Energy. Memory. Connection. But hunger doesn't always mean destruction. Then what happens now? He asked, her glowing eyes fixed on his. I don't want to feed on the world. I want to understand it. You came here, running from the sky's wrath.
Stay. Share what you know.
In return, I offer safety. Dalton laughed once, bitter and tired. Sounds like a fairy tale. Everything begins as a story, she said. Chapter 4. The Storm Within. He stayed. The storm lasted for 2 more days. During that time, the creature, who eventually told him her name was Kareth, showed him fragments of the facility's history. Project Seraphim, a genetic experiment mixed with alien tissue found on the moon, bonded with quantum processors and neural mimicry. She had grown from a cell to something they feared.
Something they buried.
But Kareth never attacked Dalton. She listened. She watched. When he spoke of the world above, its cities, songs, solar flares, and space stations, her face softened. "Is it better now?" she asked once, voice hopeful. He didn't know what to say. "It's louder and more tired, but it's trying." By the 3rd night, she powered up the bunker's backup systems. Blue light filled the corridors. Machines long dormant whispered back to life. She moved like electricity in skin. Dalton couldn't sleep. He stood by the corridor outside the main chamber, staring at a picture on the wall, a team of scientists in lab coats, one of them holding a clipboard beside the very pod Kareth had emerged from. They had written, "Do not engage. Contain at all costs." He turned. She was behind him again. "You're afraid of me." He nodded. "Shouldn't I be?" Kareth stepped closer. "You're the first to speak to me without cruelty. You're the first story I've ever had. I'm trying to be more than what they built." Her voice trembled. "Let me." Chapter 5. My fast ends today. The next morning, the hurricane's eye passed. Sunlight lanced through cracks in the bunker roof. Dalton packed his bag slowly, awkwardly. He had to go. There was a world above, friends who thought he was dead, a job waiting, responsibilities unfinished. But Kareth stood at the exit like a guardian. Her presence shimmered with quiet desperation. "Before you go, let me taste your memory." Dalton flinched. Not pain, not harm, just one memory, one connection. "I promise it won't hurt." He hesitated, then slowly nodded. She stepped forward, pressed her hand against his temple. And he saw his mother singing to him in the rain, his father teaching him to fix engines, his first heartbreak, his first sunrise on the Gulf. Laughter.
Pain.
Triumph. Everything that made him him. Kareth's eyes flooded with light. Tears, real, or something like them, glistened on her cheeks. "You are so full," she whispered. "I didn't know the fast would end with something so warm." Then she stepped back and smiled. Chapter 6. Humanity Returns. Dalton left the bunker at dawn. The world was still broken, trees stripped bare, roads flooded, skies gray with warning, but he walked with purpose. He didn't speak of Kareth to the rescuers who found him. Not at first. But weeks later, in a quiet bar in Houston, a man in a suit sat across from him. Government badge. Polite voice. "We know where you were. Site number 19. It's supposed to be decommissioned." Dalton sipped his drink. "Then I guess I was just lucky." The man leaned forward. "Did she survive?" Dalton looked out the window. Rain pattered against the glass. "She didn't just survive," he said. "She chose not to destroy us." The agent said nothing for a while. "What would it take," he finally asked, "for her to trust us again?" Dalton smiled faintly. "A story. A true one. One where we're not monsters." He stood and walked into the night. Behind him, somewhere beneath layers of concrete and secrets, Kareth waited. No longer fasting. No longer alone. Humanity had returned.